Okay, so quick little breaking news segment, I guess. Want to live react to this, but it appears that let's get this browser going. It appears that as I was putting up my nice new California Republic flag behind me as a nice little backdrop that my good buddy DJ got for me. Very nice of him. That Here we are. Here's all the news on YouTube. Breaking: Biden releases statement that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. Wow, wow. The ABC News picture that they have of him. Oh my God. I don't know if they were trying to still have knives out for him, even though he finally capitulated. I wonder what the actual, pressure that did him in was, whatever the final straw was for him, because he can be an ornery old man, and he's really stubborn. So I thought that they would manage to get him out, because I'm sure that they have, to quote Chuck Schumer, 6 ways to Sunday to pressure him of increasing intensity. But I wonder what the final straw was, the final thing. They probably, the dude in his best lucid moments is barely there. So I'm sure that they went and probably talked to him, did the carrot and stick approach. They probably gave him the whole, Joe, you already made it. I know that you've been trying to run for president for literally decades now, but you made it. You were the 46th president of the United States. So, like, just do us all a favor and get the fuck out of the race, bro. And they probably reasoned with him in that way. They probably said, don't listen to Hunter. He just wants you to pardon him, which he probably will still do out the door, if I had to hazard a guess. But it's just kind of crazy, that they really thought that not only was he going to make it here, like if I were the Democratic Party, now I wouldn't be, because I know that they're just a corrupt batch of losers who clearly don't know what they're doing. But if I were them and I actually wanted to win, what I would have done is Biden gets in, and then I would immediately pivot. I would let him know from the start that you are going to hold up that end of the bargain where you said that you're going to be a transitional president, and we're going to immediately start battle testing other candidates who would have a really good chance of mopping the floor with Trump in 2024. And it would have been understood from the start. That way you can prime the voters for, okay, Biden's going to be a one-term president. It's already decided. Let's start looking to our other options and vetting them. But no, they really thought, we're just going to limp this guy along, and he's not only going to make it to 2024, he's going to win the election. And then we have to convince the voters that they're not voting for basically a walking corpse, and that they're essentially just voting for Kamala Harris. But we have to make the case for her too, because a lot of people aren't dumb enough to go along with that. So let's look at a couple of these, because I heard that he nominated. No one is saying anything about Kamala Harris. Let's go. Joe Biden drops out. There we go. Endorses Kamala Harris to be the nominee. So he did endorse her. This is what the big question on my mind was. It wasn't going to be it wasn't going to be. I thought for sure he's getting out of the race. Like, I knew that he's stubborn. Sorry. And like, wasn't planning on doing a breaking news Biden drops out segment, although I should have been prepped because there were rumblings that it was going to be this weekend, even though it says, what does it say? Biden's final decision to leave the race was reached in the last 48 hours. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's when he finally caved and not decided days ago when the reports started coming out. Anyways, the main question for me wasn't, is he going to drop out? It was going to be, is he going to endorse Harris, or is he going to stab her in the back, which would be fine by me because she's absolutely terrible, but stab her in the back and then go endorse basically an open convention scenario. Looks like they're going for Harris. God forbid there's any actual semblance of a democratic process. The party of, we need to, what do they say? We need to preserve democracy. It's going to be the end of our democracy if Donald Trump gets elected, but we're also going to cancel all the primaries, basically coronate this man. And then when he has to drop out, he's going to nominate her, even though she's just an unbelievably unpopular person, even within the Democratic Party. I remember arguing with K-Hive on Twitter back when it was Twitter, and it was clear those people were actual bots. Like, I'm sure some people fell for it because it looked kind of, if you're not savvy on the internet, it looked like kind of like maybe she's got some support, but there's no real large or even like semi large base of support for Kamala fucking Harris. It's just not there. Everyone sees her. She was a shitty prosecutor who was corrupt at best. She cackles like a mad woman. She has no public speaking skills or relatability whatsoever. And if she has to go, she's now, okay, so it was she's going to debate JD Vance. Now she might have to debate Trump. That's what we'll be seeing. That'll be hilarious because, he's just going to turn to her and be like, you had your knives out for Joe Biden. He made you his vice president because you're a black woman. That's the only reason. In every other way, you're terrible. He's just going to say it like it is, like Trump tends to do, no filter. And, a lot of the time there's some ambiguity of if it's like, if he's right or not, regardless of if he's like actually saying what he honestly believes, which is respectable, but sometimes it's like, okay, I can't believe you believe that. But in this case, almost everything he's going to be able to say about Kamala Harris is going to be extremely hard hitting because it's all going to be true. You're unlikable. Even your own party doesn't like you. Just the Hillary 2.0. It's like the worst candidate ever. The Democratic Party, I swear to God, they want to lose on some level just because they can fundraise like crazy off of Trump again. But, I mean, if this actually causes down ballot races to go red, then that's, it's their own damn fault. So, looks like we're living in this timeline, the timeline where he doesn't step down and at least throw a scrap of meat to the idea of there actually being the will of the people represented, and say, let's open convention it. I know it's the 11th hour, but like at the very least, you guys can help pick at the end if they didn't use their super delegates in that bullshit. But nope, he just stepped down, and I wonder if Harris exerted any pressure from the inside where it was like basically I would love to be a fly on the wall in those conversations because I would love to know if Harris was basically like, all right, if you step down, like I've had your back. If you step down because they're doing this, like there's still one scenario where you can still get back at them and basically be like, fuck you, you're forcing me out, but I can still, you know, I can still drag you down with me, even if I'm not going to be the president and I'm going to nominate Harris. That would be hilarious if he was still defiant in that type of way. But let's just read a couple of these. Harris will lay low publicly until after Biden speaks. Ron Klain urges Democrats to unite behind Harris. Oh my God, they're circling the wagons, bro. Oh my God, they're all getting their marching orders, and all of a sudden we're going to be seeing all of these massive Democratic insiders and Democratic, higher ups. We're gonna see them coming out, and I've always thought Kamala was the best choice, and what we need is a black woman. They're gonna start virtue signaling, and we're just gonna get all this crap. Here's what will happen to Biden's campaign cash. I don't care, because the money on hand shouldn't have nearly as much of an impact as it does in our elections, but unfortunately, that's the reality that we live in. Senator Steve Daines, chair of the GOP's campaign arm, calls on Biden to resign. If Joe Biden is no longer capable of running for re-election, he is no longer capable of serving as president. Being president is the hardest job in the world, and I no longer have confidence that Joe Biden can effectively execute his duties as commander-in-chief. See, that's what I was thinking too, is they have to thread this needle if they force him out and say exactly that. They basically have to make the case that he's too feeble to run for president again, but not so feeble that he can't finish out his term. And that's a weird thing to have to convey to people, that like, no, I got this for a few more months. I got this. I know my brain is leaking out of my fucking ears, but I got this for a couple more months. Don't worry about it. Top donors signal support for Kamala Harris nomination. Of course, they all knew this days ago, and they were like, all right, what do we do? Are we all going to rally behind her? Yeah, we are. All right. Soon as the news comes out, we have our statement ready. Send it. House Minority Leader Jeffries praises Biden, doesn't mention Harris. Okay. Oh, he's been such a good president. We just think that we need a different, we need an alternative for the future going forward. And I'm not going to mention Kamala Harris. President Joe Biden is one of the most accomplished and consequential leaders in American history. Oh, give me a fucking break. Fuck you. Don't piss on me and say that it's raining, you piece of shit. In less than one term, he rescued the nation from a once-in-a-century pandemic. Yeah, totally. We just had the largest upward transfer of wealth in human history. In the entire history of humanity, we said, fuck all you little guy. We're going to take a lot of money from that base and we're going to put it in the pockets of like the richest 1,000 people in the world. You're welcome. Brought the economy roaring back from the brink of a recession. Good Lord, dude. These people are so shameless. It's like the line that they all were parroting, basically this, and it just stinks to anyone who isn't a rich asshole sniffing their own farts in, Hollywood or San Francisco or other, very blue but shit lib kind of areas. It's like what do you mean? The economy's doing great. Meanwhile, everyone's just getting crushed by inflation, the cost of living, rent included, and just they're over here being like, what do you mean? Must be a personal moral failing. You guys are just dumb. Sucks to suck. The economy's great. Look at the numbers. You shouldn't be feeling the way you're feeling. Look at the numbers. That's what that says to me. This guy is just so fucking insufferable. I can't believe a lot of my friends are like, you should go into politics because I'm so outspoken about it. And I'm like, dude, I would get forced out so fucking quick because I would feel so utterly disgusted with myself. Um, for not, I don't know, like, sorry, I just got a text from my wife. I bet she doesn't even know. She went paddle boarding. I had an absolutely devastating headache this morning, and I was like, I'm staying in bed. Um, sorry, give me a second. Endorsed Harris. I'm breaking the news to her. So I'm filming a short live. All right, there we go. Just asking her when she'll be home. Gonna make some lunch for us. A nice break from my rant, to be honest. Keeps me from just like every, opinion in my brain. It's just so unbelievable. I cannot wait. I'm not gonna stir the pot. I love my family. I think a lot of them realize how shitty the Democratic Party is. I still think that some of them hold on to their shit lib tendencies, And I'm not gonna judge too hard because I won't ever say that I was a shit lib. I always had very what would be the correct word to use? I always was like way more skeptical of the party, but I was still naive enough to think that the Democratic Party was, even if they weren't perfect, they were still the better option. God forbid they were the good guys, and I was disillusioned of that notion very, very quickly. But I will just acknowledge that, a lot of the family comes from a different time where the Democrats, again, weren't perfect, but maybe they actually were still somewhat fighting for the worker and stuff. So I understand how they have a little bit of that remnant of the memory of the party being like that, but it is such a hollow shell. It's a uniparty now. We got two heads of the same hydra. Um so I don't know. I'm just gonna lightly be like, oh yeah, just since 2019, I've been saying Joe Biden's brain is cognitively declining at a rapid pace, and that's the reason that he had to say he was a transitional president from the start, is because they knew that, like, okay, this guy barely squeaked in because we literally pulled some crazy shenanigans to rob it from Sanders. Which, don't get me wrong, I've been disillusioned from the idea that Sanders is some beacon of hope. He has shown his true colors, but let's be honest, they robbed it from Bernie and barely eked this guy across the finish line. And so they kind of realized that, and they had to have him come out and say, I'm going to be a transitional president. I won't be in here for too long. Don't worry. And then somewhere along the line, the narrative changed. Maybe it was partially him, maybe it was partially other career climbers, you know, who didn't want to lose their spot. I feel like this is the best of both worlds for them because she can keep a lot of the cabinet and the people who are like, we're fighting so hard to keep him as the nominee because God forbid there's a new nominee, they'd probably lose their spot. I feel like a lot of them are probably going to keep their jobs now, so this was probably the compromise for them to not just completely throw the election, which it's probably still going to be Trump, let's be honest. I don't know if this honestly makes it better or worse because you have a Hillary Clinton 2.0 hated, you know, and not because she's a fucking woman. So don't like all the people who are, oh, misogynist, like anti woman, save me, spare me from that shit. Because we had plenty of time for actual woman candidates if you guys wanted to battle test them, come out, and probably be the people who were going to beat Donald Trump. You know, I don't think Gretchen Whitmer would have been a great. You know, they always have this. They all love the Democratic like normies. I don't think the people would have really liked that, but like you had like a Tulsi Gabbard or like some other just populist who came on the scene who just happened to be a woman. No one cares about that. It's the fact that she was a corrupt prosecutor, has basically been gaslighting everyone into President Biden. You should see him behind the scenes. He's doing cartwheels, jumping jacks. He's running circles around me. And people don't like being lied to. They don't like someone who clearly is, you know, unlikable on a personal level, let alone a politician level. And so it's basically Hillary 2.0. So spare me if people are going to, you know, all of a sudden come out of the woodwork. If you don't like Kamala, if you don't want to vote for her, it's just because you're sexist. Fuck off. Democratic donors need to step up now that Biden is bowed out of the race. That screams, campaign co-chair says, that screams, I fucking capitulated to you assholes who, like, wanted me and my candidate, my boss, to get out. So now you better turn on the spigots of cash again. I swear to God, you know, I didn't do this for nothing. That screams that. Biden spoke with Schumer this afternoon before withdrawing from the race. Democratic donors expressed support for Harris. Of course, she would be like, God forbid she becomes president. She would be like the perfect person for them. They would love her. She would do all of their bidding. We'll be in every war that any military industrial complex contractor would want. Wall Street's going to be jumping for joy with either candidate, to be honest. Like it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's two heads of the same hydra. This is just the head of the hydra that the liberals can yas queen because it's a woman of color and they can pat themselves on the back about how identity is really so important as we continue to stoke World War III with Russia, fund basically a genocide in Gaza, maybe get a war with Iran, maybe, you know, officially lose the economic war with China. But we have a black woman as president, so that all doesn't fucking matter, right? Here's what could happen now that Biden has exited the race. Now that President Joe Biden has decided to not run for re-election, Democrats have an unprecedented challenge, given the traditional primary season has long since ended. Yeah, I mean, you shot yourselves in the foot with this one. Biden on Sunday endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democrats' nominee this fall, but he can't automatically make her the candidate. As CNN first reported back in February, individual delegates will now select the party's nominee on the convention floor in Chicago. So they are going to go to the convention, but he's endorsed Kamala Harris. So unless that's just like a defiant move that I was kind of alluding to, then that'd be hilarious if they were like, nope, you're too shitty. We're just going to choose someone else. That would be so fucking funny. Oh, it's from 2023. I was like, what are these fucking cretins doing? Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton both joined President Joe Biden in endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris for president. We are honored to join the president in endorsing Vice President Harris. And we'll do whatever we can to support her. Ugh, gross. Just one big swamp, to use Trump's, term, of every single fucking person in Congress, except for like I might not be fully ideologically aligned with the libertarians, but you got to hand it to Rep Massey. That dude is honest and says what the fuck he believes and votes with his principles and his conscience. And regardless of if you agree with that dude, he is, or like a Ron Paul character. Don't necessarily agree with them on everything. Although I will say back in, I'll pat myself on the back that even though I was kind of illusioned by, because I am on the left, I just want someone who actually votes their principles and isn't a total insider or like a cuck like Bernie, who basically does what they do, like what a Ron Paul or a Massey does, but for left issues, and it's just completely unapologetic because the so-called squad that we got that was supposed to go in there and do it, they're trying to be Nancy Pelosi 2.0. It's disgusting. Fuck you, AOC, and the rest of the squad. American people will hear from Democratic Party on next steps. Oh, now you want to involve the American people. You want to actually involve the Democratic Party base, huh? After canceling primaries and essentially trying to coronate Joe Biden until the entire world was laughing at us. But up until 5 seconds ago, you didn't give a fuck what the American people thought. So now all of a sudden you want to let us know what the next steps that are required of us are. Fuck you. Bill and Hillary Clinton endorsed Kamala Harris for president. Yep. Harris supporters have been working behind the scenes to secure support from delegates in case Biden left race. Okay, so this has been kind of that's what I'm getting from this. This has been more or less planned. She, fully expected this to happen because of course anyone 2 eyes, brain, you don't have to be able to hear, as long as basically you have your faculties about you, anyone could have seen this coming. So I guess it looks like she was option, and I'm sure he's been planning to. I'm sure she understood that if Biden somehow won the election, she would de facto be the presidential nominee / candidate once he, he might have even bowed out in the second term, but if not, so I'm sure she's been prepping this. She's probably tested plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And so this was just the, she probably saw an opportunity to basically force him out and have him endorse her. And she was like, we're all in. Talking behind the scenes, like, you know it, we all know it. This dude needs to get the fuck out of the race. And she's executing. I just think she's going to lose it for people. Top House Progressive Representative Jayapal endorses Harris. She will mobilize and energize our base to re-engage. Oh, I'm so sure. Exactly what I'm saying about the squad. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Oh my God, I hate all of these people. I just have genuine, visceral disgust for these people. Run on, progressive populism and then get in and essentially just be regular partisan party hacks. Fuck you. Biden told senior team he was exiting the race just as his public letter went out. Before that, it was all steam ahead that he's running. Yeah, I'm so sure about that. I'm so sure that they didn't see the writing on the wall. Herzog thanked Biden for his friendship and steadfast support for the Israeli people. You mean steadfast support for supplying our military industrial complex weapons to go murder Palestinians. Nice. Nice, Biden. What a good legacy. You ardent Zionist, you. Truly an ally of the Jewish people. I'm so sure, because the Gaza war isn't going to backfire. Prime Minister Donald Tusk wrote that Biden had made difficult decisions thanks to which Poland, America, and the world are safer and democracy stronger. Oh, democracy is stronger. I know you were driven by the same motivations when announcing your final decision, probably the most difficult one. Look at all of these people just circle jerking about democracy. Okay, Ireland's got a little bit more measured of a response. I would wish for better from Ireland, considering their history. You know, that's why a lot of people in Ireland have been some of the best on Gaza. It's because they understand what occupation is like. I understand they got to be diplomatic too, but yeah. Pelosi praises Biden for his decision to step aside. I mean, wow, look at that. That's like a Heath Ledger Joker picture right there. That woman is wearing a skin suit. Holy shit. She literally had like leaked conversations where it was basically like people being like, yeah, Biden thinks that he's gonna win because of these like very selective polls. And then Pelosi being like, get me on the phone with this campaign manager. I know exactly who's lying to him, that like is telling him that he's totally gonna win. I need to talk to this motherfucker and tell him I run this party. I run the funding. I will turn off the fucking spigots if you keep lying to Biden and don't pressure him to step down. And now, you know, she's sitting there in her like Joker chair with her giant, you know, mega what did they call it in the Johnny Depp trial? Mega pint of wine, just like cackling like a mad woman. Like, I still have a death grip on this party. I can even force presidents out. The Congressional Black Caucus PAC has endorsed Harris. I mean, just I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's just so fucking disgusting and annoying, you know, but we already knew this was going to happen. Everyone's going to fall in line behind Harris. Anyone who had any dissent, it's just because she's a black woman and you're a bad person. Fuck you. And we're just going to have to deal with it. We're just going to have to deal with a, you know, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump timeline. That's the dice roll that we were given and the hand that we were dealt. I'm not saying like me as in the Democratic Party. I'm not a Democrat. I will never vote for those cretins ever again. Yeah. Truly two of the best options we could have gotten. Couldn't think of anyone better. God help us all.